Aloha, my friends. Happy Wednesday, July 12th. I'm here with you live astrological update. There is so much going on astrologically right now. We just came from a period with a lot of Piscean, Neptunian energy with the 777 portal at the Sirius Gateway, the moon being in Pisces, conjuncting Neptune, and then Chiron, and then the North Node. And yesterday, July 11th, which is kind of a special number, we had the moon shift from a water sign, water, emotion, intuition, into the fiery energy of Aries. And so Aries is a very small constellation, and it literally only took pretty much last night into today, or yesterday through today, to cover all of Aries. But during that time, that fiery energy of the moon in Aries, and the moon sign changes very rapidly, and it tends to set the tone for the mood, for the energetic of how we're feeling, our emotional state. And so for yesterday into today, wow, it was so activating, from coming from a very sensitive, energetically opening time to like so much energy with the fiery moon. And the moon also came into conjunction with Uranus, the planet of change, sudden unexpected happenings, technology, the internet, the new age, over last night and into today. And ironically, the property where we live, we had an electrician on the property fixing the internet. I talked to other people who had issues with the internet. I even went to the post office and their internet was down, which could totally happen when you have Uranus, the planet of the internet, the planet of online communication, being with the moon being fluctuation. I'm happy to report that the moon is moving away from Uranus, because Uranus is a very unstable energy. Its symbol, of course, being the lightning bolt. Uranus is all about change. It is very destabilizing energy, and yet it helps to create freedom. It helps to create transformation. It helps us come into a more liberated, free energy. So Uranus is beautiful. It's a beautiful energy. It can be destabilizing, especially when it's with the moon, which is our mood, it's our emotion, it's where we are the most sensitive. And so I'm happy to report that the moon has now traveled out of Aries into the constellation of Taurus. And Taurus is an earth sign. It is grounded, it is slow. I always think about, its symbol being the cow or the bull. I always think about, being the cows out in the field. It's a beautiful day, the grass is green, and there's a slow, lazy vibe of just the cows getting to eat and enjoy life. And Taurus is really all about that. Taurus is all about enjoying the good things of life, enjoying delicious food, beautiful smells. They love to have beautiful flowers, eat delicious food, enjoy the good things of life, really savor the abundance, the plenty that this material universe, Taurus is really connected to the material universe, that the material universe has for us to enjoy. It's a very earthy sign, so it's a good time to indulge your senses, eat delicious food, go out into nature, right? Smell beautiful flowers, take off your shoes, really get into the tactile senses with the moon in Taurus. We may be more sleepy when the moon's in Taurus. It's a slow, low vibe. It's like a low, right? Taurus is slow and low in earth, right? So we might suddenly be like, I'm tired, I'm gonna have an afternoon nap, I'm gonna have a nice snack. It's like time slows down with Taurus. So now for what's going on, kind of a broader range here. So I have a couple videos where I've talked about Saturn going retrograde. Saturn, of course, being the planet of structure, discipline, discipleship, mastery, structure, organization. It is the energy of restriction that allows us to rise up to our highest possible success, our highest pinnacle, to climb the mountain, right? So Saturn really represents the hard work, dedication, and drive that it takes to climb the mountain. And when Saturn is retrograde, which it is right now in Sagittarius, the sign of truth and freedom. There's a drive to, I apologize, Saturn is actually in Aquarius. Aquarius being the sign of liberation, the sign of the new age, the sign of the internet, the sign of the new vision for humanity. Saturn in Aquarius can represent the structure of an online business, let's say, or the structure of a new age community. Aquarius is all about, I always think about Woodstock, I always think about Nikola Tesla, I always think about great inventors and the humanity evolving, growing into a new vision, evolving into something greater, right? With the Aquarian energy of a new vision for the future. So with Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, this is a long-term thing, and I have a video, you can find it, about Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, a very helpful video. So we're dealing with this Saturn retrograde until November, okay? And so what's happened that has sort of activated this Saturn retrograde is that Mars, the planet of action, masculinity, our energy actually, is in an opposing or polarity relationship to Saturn right now. And Mars likes to charge freely. Like, I always think of Mars energy like the sports car, the Corvette, someone just like gunning it, right? Like pushing the gas down. That's like the Mars energy, very masculine, right? And it's in Leo, and Leo is the sun, loves to be the center, loves to shine. And so energetically what that could mean is that we feel this fiery, bright energy of wanting to take action, wanting to go forwards. And yet Mars is in polarity or challenge with Saturn, which is discipline, going slow, plotting the course, creating the structure, creating the framework to really grow and create success, whatever form that's going to take for your specific vision. And so that could mean that our natural energy right now feels a little restricted. Like, we want to just go out and have fun, and yet there's Saturn there. Saturn saying, well, did you finish all your work? What's your vision? What's your long-term goal? What is your structure that you're building? And so we might have to continually keep coming back to the drawing board and getting more and more refined and grounded around our structure, around our discipline, around our dedication to what it is that we're creating, what it is that we're wishing to bring forth for our collective vision, Aquarius and Saturn. And it also, if you look at it on a more collective level, on the world stage level, Saturn and Aquarius could relate to the structures of our government, the structures of schools, institutions, large groups, and it could relate to there being changes in how these groups express themselves out into the world, the structure of our government, the structure of our communities. And so there could be some tension, Mars, Leo wanting to just do things how we've always done them, and Saturn and Aquarius saying, it's time to change. It's time to change, and what are you going to do about it? And the people, Aquarius, want change. So please, because Mars and Leo, Mars is leadership and so is Leo. And so Mars and Leo could represent the leaders, the heads, the kings, the masculine patriarchy. And Aquarius, Saturn could represent the collective, right? You know, with the online world, the internet, with YouTube, we're having greater and greater access to one another, to where we can get onto our cameras, record a video, and then share it with thousands of people with a click of a button, right? And so we suddenly have the ability to share our thoughts and to reach out collectively across the global realm. That's Aquarius. Aquarius is that global connection through the internet. Saturn and Aquarius could be challenges with the internet. Again, challenges with connection through our Wi-Fi, internet networks. Aquarius is the electrical system. So you could have stuff around electrical stuff going on, both in the body being an electrical system, and with our housing, with our homes, with our businesses. There could be hiccups. So if there's hiccups happening in your business, in your work, with your internet, all of this is happening to refine, to define, and help you, assist you in creating a more grounded, disciplined, successful base for which you can really create that which you're wanting to create and bring forth. Okay? So that's one thing we've got going on, is Saturn to Mars. Combine that with like another intense cross, which is that the sun, the planet of the soul, the ego, the personality, what is your sun sign? It's one of the most powerful components of our astrological chart, is opposing Pluto. And Pluto went retrograde, and Pluto is the deep subconscious. Pluto are secrets, hidden things, deep things buried. Pluto is the god of sex, death, rebirth, the symbol, of course, being the phoenix, the butterfly, symbolizing those dark nights of the soul, those transformational gateways where we are put in touch with these deeper layers and levels of who we are in order to heal, in order for those things to come up to the surface so that we can then release them. And that is where the power of energy healing and the power of transformational therapies of all kinds is really important, because when you have Pluto retrograde from now until October, and it's in the sign of Sagittarius, which is all about truth and freedom, we are being asked collectively what is buried deep in our subconscious and in the subconscious of the collective, because both Pluto and Saturn represent the collective fields. They move so slowly. What is buried that is blocking our full expression of luminosity and truth to come forth? Wow, well, that's a pretty big ask, right? That's a pretty deep ask, because Pluto is depth. Pluto is short for plutonium in some ways. It's related to atomic energy. Pluto has atomic power. Okay, atomic power is huge. It's extremely powerful, and if there wasn't so much dangers associated with it as a power source, could do a lot in terms of, bringing energy to the people. Of course, we've had nuclear disasters of all kinds, Chernobyl, Hiroshima, and all of us know that the incredible risks of atomic energy and atomic bombs are so horrific for the human civilization on Earth, for the whole planetary system, that many of us feel so deeply that, God, please just stop using this atomic energy. And so with Pluto retrograde could mean that collectively we're being reminded again, what are we going to do to stop atomic energy? What are we going to do to stop atomic warfare from ever happening on this earth plane? So it could be bringing up very deep concerns around, nuclear energy on the planet being utilized. And so we might be collectively purging past life trauma from the planetary use of atomic weapons. And we're also probably coming to a place collectively where we're deciding, you know what, we're done with that. We really want to have truth, and we want to have freedom, and we want to release all of that old trauma and all of that old drama for good, and just get it out of the collective field. And so today, Pluto, the great underworld, the great god of the underworld, the great god of power and energy, and the type of energy that's below the surface. I always think of Pluto as that volcanic energy of the deep subconscious that has this incredible depth, right? That could potentially explode if it is not released at a gentle rate, at a rate that is healing and healthful. And so I really encourage people, with Pluto being in such a dynamic activation point with the sun being immense solar light, if things are arising for you, if you're feeling emotions coming to the surface, I strongly suggest reaching out to energy healers, energy practitioners, guides, friends, family members, or doing a process, going on a long walk in nature, dancing, singing, getting it out, because with Pluto opposing the sun today and for the next several days, there's a depth and intensity, right? Because Pluto is the underworld. It's like the darkness, and the sun is now opposing it. And so the sun and Pluto are engaged in this activation that's so dramatic, right? It's so polarizing in the sense of what has been hidden is usually over there, and the sun is usually over there. but they're being given a line of energy. That polarity is like a line of energy activation to activate, to bring light to those hidden depths within us. So wherever you have Pluto in your astrological chart, and I've talked at great depth before about how we have 12 houses in a birth chart and a progress chart that relate to every arena of our life. And that's why they're so much fun to read, because we're not just reading symbols and signs and houses. We're reading, well, what does the first house mean? It's identity. What does the fourth house mean? It's family. Oh, the seventh is relationship. And that's where predictive astrology comes from, is this ability to know which planets are activating which arenas of life, right? So that's how we could say if Pluto's affecting your seventh house, it's the same sign as your seventh house. Let's say you have Gemini rising and you have Sagittarius in the seventh house, you could have Pluto there. So there could be some light coming to some subconscious programming that you have about relationships, whether it's the one you're in now or typically relating all the way back to your first relationships with mom and dad, right? Or from a past life relationship as well. It's a very deep subject. I'm actually currently teaching a 6-week course on how to learn how to read astrology. It's my passion. I love teaching people how to take the signs and symbols of an astrological chart and learn their meaning. It's like learning a song. As a musician, we'll take the notes A, B, C, D, E, and that might not mean anything to us, but a musician will play it and suddenly a whole world comes alive. It's the same with an astrological chart. As soon as we learn the symbology, we're literally able to strike notes on chords and create music. We see visions, we see what it means, and thus evoke the feeling, the emotive response to what's happening astrologically in the sky. And I had a dear friend write me today. She's like, is there something happening with Scorpio in my chart? I just, please tell me. And I think it's so interesting because I haven't looked at her chart yet, but I can say that Pluto energy to me most deeply resonates with the energy of Scorpio. And so collectively, with the sun lining up with Pluto, opposing it in polarity, two sides of the same coin, Sun in Gemini, which is communication, expression, Pluto in Sagittarius, which is depth and transformation, truth and freedom, that we're being activated. Gemini tends to be much more shallow, much more superficial. It's usually the time of year where we're networking, we're traveling, we're meeting lots of people. It's really fun and light. It's like the butterfly in the field of flowers. And yet today we have the butterfly in the field of flowers with Pluto. And Pluto is the god of the underworld. So what is a nice story about Pluto to help bring it home? So Pluto, the god of the underworld, falls in love with the daughter of the earth, and the daughter of the earth being Demeter or Virgo, that sign, and her daughter being Persephone. And so in this story, Pluto falls in love with Persephone and he steals her from her mom and takes her down to the underworld. And her mom, Gaia, or Virgo, either way you can call her, terribly upset, mourns for her daughter so deeply that we stop having the seasons. We stop having the sun. It's just winter all year. And so the people are like, please, God, help us. So they pray to the gods for help. And so they go down and talk to Pluto and say, hey, the world up there is suffering because you took Persephone, you fell in love with her, and now her mom is weeping. And so they came to an agreement that for 6 months of the year, Persephone would stay above ground with her mom, Gaia, the Earth Mother, and for another 6 months of the year, she would go below with Pluto, and those, of course, would be autumn and winter. And this is so appropriate because we're in the peak of summer right now, Sun in Gemini, shining that light, and yet we're heading into those months where Persephone, the goddess, the child of the earth, will go below into the kingdom of Pluto. And so typically we associate the months of, October, November, December, January with Plutonian energy more. It's more internal, right? The energy is more drawn within. It's the subconscious. We're going out of the world and inside. And so for Pluto to be making such a huge contact with the bright solar energy of the sun right now tells me that we're being asked to go deep. We're being asked to look at the depth of our soul What blocks do we have to truth and freedom within us? That's Sagittarius, Pluto and Sagittarius, that are stopping our soul, that is the Sun, Gemini, from fearlessly communicating, expressing, and sharing what our gifts are. And so my sense is that those things are going to be coming up to the surface. The fact that the karmic destiny point is in Pisces, it's the year of the 7, which is related to Neptune in Pisces. Chiron is in Pisces, which is water, art, music, and creativity. The soul, that's an overall lesson we're all working on, tells me that in order to resolve this dilemma of what things we have buried in the subconscious, what the sun is illuminating, we must go within and interact with our inner creativity. We must get back in touch, if we're an artist, with our art. What is your art? What is your spiritual art? What is your practice for meditation? What is your practice for getting in touch with your inner world? This is the time, my friends. With the Pluto Sun aspect, we're not going to be allowed to just go out and be playful and light. We're being asked to, along with that, do depth, do transformation, do healing work. Such a good time for healing work. I also facilitate very in-depth healing work. I work with clearing and checking on the ancestral level, the past life level, the early childhood level, wherever the block has happened that has kept our energy stuck in a certain gridlock pattern. And I know some really amazing tools to release our blocks to healing that most modalities do not include. And so I'm happy to work with you. I'm offering $1 a minute sessions at this time because there's so much happening both for astrological readings and for healing. So healing and astrology are so deeply connected because it is by the stars and the planetary alignments within the stars that give us so much information about what's happening in our bodies and collectively. Each sign relates and planet relates to an area of the body. Aries relates to the head, Leo to the heart, Gemini to the arms, right? Sagittarius to the thighs. And so with Gemini Sun, you could be having issues with shoulders or arms or hands, especially with that Pluto in Sagittarius, or the upper thighs. That could be activated by this aspect. Comment below if that's something you're dealing with. Comment below if you want to share how these aspects are manifesting for you. They're intense when you have so much activation, first between Sun and Pluto opposing, and then Saturn to Mars opposing, and then Mercury is also opposing Pluto, which is how we communicate in Cancer. There's a lot of polarity, and there's a lot of thus activation for growth. What I always say about polarity is it's like the rubber band that creates all that pressure. And just imagine you're on this rubber band and all that pressure that's building up. Stay focused on your vision and what you're creating, and then allow all that pressure of that rubber band to shoot you forwards and actually become a blessing in disguise, wondering, how did it even get so good? What else is possible? How is everything always working out to my highest and best advantage? And when we're on the soul path, when we're connected to our highest guidance, we're moving towards love, we're always moving towards feeling to heal, then everything can align for our highest good. And no matter which aspect we're dealing with, astrologically or with the planets, we can rise above, and we can utilize that energy as a gift and a blessing. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I am Lotus Dawn. This is Blossom with Lotus. Please like, follow, and subscribe to learn more incredible updates about what is happening in the stars right now in 13 sign astrology. I appreciate you all. It's a beautiful day. Connect to nature. Use that moon and Taurus energy to ground, to allow you to go deeper, to allow you to release that which no longer serves, so that you can truly be the light and the gift that you and I and all of us each are collectively. That's that Saturn and Aquarius, our collective field, learning the lessons, Saturn, doing the work, Saturn, to ground our vision collectively, so that our energy can then make it happen. So right now there's a little dialogue between Mars and Saturn of like, maybe the ways we've used our energy, Mars and Leo, to shine, opposite Saturn in Aquarius, haven't always been in alignment for the highest good. And so maybe we're being asked to look a little deeper, to connect more to the bigger picture, and to truly create a structure and a framework for aligning to our true purpose, to aligning to everyone's growth and involvement in the highest and best way. I send you so much love. We do have a new moon coming up, so we're in the the waning cycle of the moon. If your energy is a little more low, that's natural. It will increase again as the moon gets bigger after July 17th, which is the new moon. I'll have more updates coming soon. I send you so much love and light. Aloha, and have a beautiful day.